My name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel, a 3 or 4 minute or so podcast about movies I film, whether they suck, whether they're not, weird, whatever. Today I'm feeling a little purple. Well, actually, I've been feeling purple for the past couple of days, but that's because me and C- and Bobo went to go see Prince's Sign O' the Times. I know it's called Sign of the Times, but I'm just reading it like it's been written.
Yeah.
And I was very inspired to see this film solely because of DJ C- that I have as a guest. My first guest of the podcast. I'm so happy to have him. C-, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yo. Hello, everyone. My name is C-, and I'm here to talk with Ray Salazar about the movie Sign O' the Times.
Sign of the Times, 1987, right?
87, bro.
Filmed both in Holland and Paisley Park.
Yes. Because he got this is a tour he never brought to the States, which is why this movie to me is like an amazing like bookmark of his career. Like it's a great like snapshot of his career and what he was into. So the tour was going so well, like it was like right on the last few dates. He was like, we should get a recording truck over here. We should tape this. It's going well. We should really tape this. And then they got a truck out, and his plan was to make, same thing he did with it, but he was going to do all concert footage from that he got over there. But he did it, everything taped, but when he got back, the footage wasn't great. Wasn't like to his particular liking, so he decided to recreate the stage set at Paisley Park. And then he just invited locals to come hang out for a free show, and he would just go through tapings of it, and it's all live. Yeah, it's just everything he was doing was live. But that's the basis of it.
I was very impressed that Prince can actually direct like a fucking concert film. Like I know this wasn't just a concert film because there was some drama in it as far as like scenes,
the storyline.
Yes, a story. It's a very simple storyline, but I like that it connects to the actual musicians and dancers and artists in his band. Mm-hmm. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's a storyline we've all seen before. Girl loves boy, boy doesn't love her back. Other guy thinks she's cool, but she's caught up in the other guy, so it's like we all, see it. So it's a very
back and forth shit.
Yeah, but it's simple and it's streamlined, you know what I mean? And then with the music, it kind of really enhances it. Like he found ways to put scenes leading into it, whether, they made sense for the most part. Like
for the most part, yeah, I agree. They totally made sense because, mind you, I've never seen this film.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this album.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Until C- told me about it, which was about, 4 years ago. We're in 2022. So 08, whatever.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking, the songs were great. They're funky, they're a little jazzy. I like that.
Yeah.
I like how he made the camera very intimate in some shots.
Yes.
Especially while they're playing a song, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can kind of tell that it's all staged and then choreographed and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But when you're in the moment, sometimes you kind of forget that you learned all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And whether those shots were totally decided or not, they made the film period interesting from beginning to end.
Yes, I think in regards to him, talking about him being a director, I think what's crazy is that I think every one of these films or every one of these things is what Prince wants to see. It's like what he wants to see of his own show. And so there's moments where he catches just his. I really like there's "Play in the Sunshine," which is the second song. We're gonna play in the sunshine. And there's this part he goes, "We're gonna have fun," and then you just see this. You just see the stage illuminate, and it becomes this like, oh my! It's like a wow moment. Like, oh shit! And it's dope to capture because he pulled back for that, but then goes back to watching Sheila drum or just fucking watching Prince fucking work the stage or whatever.
He gets in there. He gets all the way to your face, and I like that too.
But the fact that as a director, he can call those shots of himself and the band.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, which I see your point. And you're like, yo, this is like, because I mean, it's one thing to perform the show, but another thing to perform the show knowing there's things you want to get of yourself doing this show. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. I've seen a couple of music videos of Prince and like barely a little bit of his live shit, like with his guitar shit, but I've never seen him fucking move.
Yeah, he was badass.
And I was like, damn, dude, he's giving out Jackson vibes.
Yeah, he was
but like a little bit more street, I guess.
Well, he was just there was more grit to him, I think, or there was just more like the way, me, you, and Bobo finished talking about it after, we were like, yo, I know there's, people will compare him to Michael Jackson all day, but when it's all said and done, there is no comparison. And that's not a diss to Prince or Michael Jackson. It's truly apples and oranges. They're Michael is a great entertainer in the same way that Prince is a great entertainer, and they both can sing. And they both have, they both got chops. But as far as, what Prince brought to it was so different than what MJ was doing. It was funky or raw. It had, I guess it would be more street, but it was also kind of just like Prince making funk in his own world. And that drawed you in because that sound is just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, what was the name of that track where it's like, it was like very off time. And like there was a moment where the bass player was on the floor and he was just going all crazy and shit.
Oh, when they were doing the jazz, they were doing, I think, Now's the Time.
Oh, that's what it's called, Now's the Time?
Yeah, Now's the Time. Yeah, it's a part.
That shit was wild.
Yeah, that's cool. See, and that's when in '87 he was hella into jazz. He had already did like an album called Madhouse, which is all him. Every instrument except saxophone. So he actually made a fake town up in Minnesota to promote the record because he didn't want people to judge it as, oh, this is Prince doing a jazz album. He wanted it to be judged on his own merit. So what he did is he made this is '87. There's no internet. You can't really go fucking, oh, let me go online and see if this is a real town. So he made up a town with fake band members and pretended like they did an interview with some magazine or whatever and was like, yo, oh yeah, we've known Prince from around the scene or whatever and all this stuff. But he did that just so people wouldn't judge the album on, oh, this is Prince doing jazz. He wanted it to be judged on his own. So he was really fucking like on some shit, like just trying to like, in that sense, he was going heavy, and he was also hanging with Miles Davis. He was like fucking
Kang.
He was just he was so badass and he had so much shit cracking, but he just had it. He had all his hands dipped in the right pools for a minute. So the jazziness in the movie showed, and it also showed how like it was just stripped because it was like rock. There was heavy rock moments. There's heavy funk. There's
some
pop,
new wave type shit.
New wave. Play in the Sunshine, that second song, there's like, he was kind of, a Sign of the Times is more, it could be looked at as a rap song because he's not really singing except the hook.
Dude, Sheila E fucking rapping, or what it appears to be rapping.
Yes.
I was like dumbfounded.
The Trans-Mississippi rap. Yeah, that's, so on the record, it's actually Sheila doing the rap, but through a telephone. He recorded it through a telephone. And then they came up with that idea. You saw in the video where she plays drums the whole show except for that one part. Then he goes and plays drums while she goes upstage and raps and dances.
Yeah,
that
shit was tight.
And
I throw my flowers to her.
Yeah, dude. I used to have a picture of her dressed in that like the legless suit.
Dude, she can dress, dog.
Hey, but I used to have that picture in that poster in my wall, like just like right there. Like it was, you would walk in
With drumsticks?
she had a drumstick on her. Don't trip, dude.
Damn.
Dude,
She was ready.
dude. I was ready. I didn't care. You know, I just wanted her on my wall because she looks so dope. Yeah, Prince was also designing all the clothes and shit. Like, yeah, there's a Jeff Katz who did the album photo. That's the cover. There's an interview. I think it's in Vanity Fair. About how
It's a pretty good album cover.
Yeah, it's a trip because that shot was not supposed to be. It was just the one that Prince was like, "Here, do one of me walking towards you," and whatever the exposure is.
Yeah.
And as Jeff takes, he goes, "Ha, that's gonna be the album cover." All right, dude, I'm out later. And then, sure and behold, like Jeff went to go, he went to go develop the work, and then he was like, "Holy shit!" He was right. There it is. That's it.
That's tight.
So yeah, he was a motherfucker, man. But that show, dude, was the beginning of like so many, like he was showing all these influences in his live show. I mean, who else in '87, would Michael and his band be able to jam a jazz thing like that? Like he was on some totally other shit for '87.
Yeah.
And it showed. All his shit was starting to show in a great way. Is like he was really starting to get hard.
I'm assuming that he recreated the Holland stage to do the parts in Paisley Park.
Yeah, he recorded. Yeah, that was the same stage every show for that tour.
All
so
right.
he just recreated the set, and then they just filmed there. And then the last show they did of it was New Year's Eve, 1987 into '88. And that's when Miles Davis came on stage with them and jammed. And then that's the last time, like, the band was still the same, but they never did the set list in that order. Or he was like, he never brought the show to the States, and he could have. It would have fucking killed. Everyone was hearing all the good shit about that back then with no internet. You know what I mean? People were reading magazine reviews of, like, Prince is killing it over here. And so he came over, he was like, well, I'll make the movie, but after that, we're moving on.
That's pretty crazy. Like, you know how you mentioned earlier, no internet, no social media. You're a Prince fan, and then comes '87. Holy shit! What the fuck? There's a movie.
Yeah, dude.
And we get to see it, but we didn't. But we're like, what the? Did people know that they weren't gonna get a U.S. slot?
No, not really.
It was just something like, oh well, we're here.
Everyone found out when
when
he announced the next record, when he announced the Love Sexy record, which is him naked on the cover. He announced that, like, because he wasn't, he didn't want to get burned on the whole thing of it. Like, the craziest thing, I was like reading that book that's underneath over there, like that book right there, talks about how Prince and the Revolution only did a 5 to 6 month run of Purple Rain at its peak. The whole thing was supposed to be, it was the show. It's a perfect show and he, most bands, they'll get a hot show that's super successful and they'll tour for like a year and a half. And he could have easily done another 6 months or another year. And he was like, I'm getting bored. I'm not doing it anymore. And the same thing happened with the Sign of the Times, which is why it never came here. He got bored with it and decided to move forward. And he was like, I don't care if my fans want to see it. I'm going later.
I can see that.
I'm not saying he's, like for real, he would say, I don't care if my fans didn't. I'm just saying he was like, you know what? I can't hold myself back. I got to go.
It's just that thing where like you just don't fucking feel it like that. You're just ready to do more shit or new shit.
Yeah, you want to.
I'm pretty sure he was a step ahead of himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, when you hear how prolific he is, I'm gonna give you the box set, and you hear what he made in a 2-year span. You're like, holy shit! And then you think of like this dude, and he says in that book, in that book I just showed you, by Dwayne Tootle, he says, that like the music just, it comes into my head and I can't sleep unless I get it out. Like that's how, like he had once.
That's how wired he is.
Yeah, he just was ready to go. Like he got a melody in his head, he'd go and he'd lay a whole song. Crazy.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, dude. So like to know that he could, and then early on he had access to a studio to do all his own shit. You know what I mean? And so he was like, he could create whenever he wanted to, and he just kept creating. So everything, if it hung out too long, he'd be like, oh, all right, well, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna make that, I'm gonna collaborate with this person, I'm gonna go do this. He just king of staying forward, just like nose to the grindstone and just fucking going. And I mean, we have all this shit now. There's so much of it. We haven't even heard like a smidge of it, I'm sure.
I feel pretty grateful that we got to see it in 35 millimeter.
Dude, that was so cool.
Extra touch on those details, just on everything.
I'll show you the version that they have like on the streaming services, which has been remastered and all that shit. But there was something beautiful about seeing how it was intended in 87, no remaster, no nothing, just like
here it is.
And it was Quentin's personal, his own personal copy, right?
Yep.
His own cut of the 35 millimeter. And so just something about that was amazing. And then you saw the little fucking, what is it? The ink, what are the
the real marks.
Yeah, you saw the real marks, and then I was just like, oh my God, like
takes you back.
It takes you back. And I remember back in the days when we'd see that in a theater, we'd be like, yo, that's fucked up, man. Why they got it?
The next reel's coming out.
Yeah, but same thing with, back, when I was DJing, if the record skipped, you got booed. And now if the record skips, it's like, yeah, you're playing vinyl. Like, huh? But it just skipped, and it made everyone like skip a beat and dancing. That's the worst. But seeing it on film was beautiful, because I did think that the shadowing and the shade of it, like in its original cut, was the contrast so beautiful, so dark and so rad, and just so like you saw the colors a little more vivid. I mean, the remaster is a great thing, but also just seeing it in its original film form from 87, you know what I mean? That was cool, man. Thank you for like that was an amazing time.
No problem. You would agree that if they ever show that film again, you would see it?
Oh yeah.
Definitely recommend music lovers to go see it.
Yeah, now that you've seen that, I got to show you Under the Cherry Moon.
I heard it's a tough one.
It's not as tough as Graffiti Bridge. Graffiti Bridge will have you going, what? It's it's just a.
Yeah, I heard it's different.
It's just a different film.
Different film.
But it's good though.
Different Prince.
Yeah, but it's a more sarcastic and funny Prince, and shouting out like fucking like bags and shit. And then Graffiti Bridge, he's a little more serious and a little more take himself like, don't you know I'm Prince?
This is me.
This is me now.
Well, see,
but yeah, Under the Cherry Moon, dude. We got to do that next.
I'm with it. Any shout outs? See, thank you for being the first guest of this podcast.
Dude, thank you for having me.
And I enjoyed watching the film. I learned a lot. Even just like watching a concert film, I learned a lot about the man.
Yeah.
And he looked very happy, like performing. Like I always thought he was like this serious, like auteur, like type of person, but nah, like it looks like he does have like he has to have fun. If you're making music like that, especially like jazz, you gotta be like a fun ass motherfucker.
You do, man. And a
motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, I think that his happy space was on stage. You could just see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was either on stage or in the studio. And I think when he had it down, he could go on forever. Like forever. Because another thing interesting about this time, real quick before you get off, is that, so when he did this tour in 87, right? Like he would do the shows at night, but then he would tell the band, hey, we're going to go play a club tonight. 1, 2 a.m. and they play from 2 to 4 or whatever. Sometimes however long Prince went. Then they'd go to sleep, wake up, next show, next day, same fucking like dude. He loved playing because after he was, he would do an hour and a half, 2 hour show with the Sign of the Times band with that that show. Then they would go play blues covers or funk covers for like another 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes. Like, and those shows are electric too. You're just like, these motherfuckers, how do they do it? but it was all in that time, man. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, if anyway, hopefully one day they'll put those shows out. I have them. There's a couple of them. There's one where they cover "Miss You," Rolling Stones, and Ron Wood jumps on stage. Like,
that's cool.
oh yeah, some cool shit, man. There's some really cool shit.
Viva La Prince. Any shout outs? C-. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at C-Fan4 on all social media. That's IG, Twitch, where you can see me spin in the mornings. That's on Twitter. That's on Discord. Go to djc-.com and go pick up some cool gear. Check it out. Hope you dig it. I'm releasing beats on there as well. And just thank you anyone listening to this. Like I implore you to go watch this movie. It's it's literally a good time. It's something about it to me. There's just so much when you put together the perfect performer with the perfect music and the perfect visuals. It's sometimes stronger than seeing the show itself live because you get to experience it over and over again perfectly. And you might go to different shows of the same artist and you might get a bad show, which happens to every single one. Dude, I've had some bad shows myself. I had bad sets before, you know what I mean? Just where you're just not on, but like just to be able to like in that setting, dude. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how it can get more better than what we saw.
Yeah, dude.
I'm pretty sure you felt the same way.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to like, that's to me, when you hear it's a perfect show for him at that time. It was fucking risky. It was funky. It had all the heat, and at the end of it, you were like, that motherfucker's bad. And he did that every night. It's pretty cool. And he made the perfect concert film of that experience. So that's cool.
That is cool. My name is Ray Salazar. Follow me, Morning Shot Films, on IG and YouTube. Follow the Morning Reel on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. I don't know if I'm iHeart yet, but I'll check later. But yeah, if it ain't, it ain't. If it is, it is. Next film, you'll see.